What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're gonna be talking about Bitter Root number 11 by the homies David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green. And in this video, we're gonna learn exactly who the masked individual was who came out of the portal from Barzak to help save the day in the last issue of Bitter Root number 10. We're also going to learn how the world, more specifically Harlem, is dealing with the aftermath of Jinoo running roughshod across Harlem. And last but most certainly not least, we're also going to learn humans are not the only things on Earth that can be affected by hatred and transformed into terrifying monsters. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
All right, so when we get into Bitter Root number 11, this book basically does a lot of, I guess, kind of backtracking to kind of get you up to speed, just in case this is your first issue. I mean, every issue is somebody's first issue, but in the event that this is somebody's first issue, they are doing a very good job of, making sure you at least have some kind of idea of what's been going on, because this is literally the kickoff of a brand new story arc. So I'm not going to rehash a lot of those things because we've already done videos talking about those things. What I want to talk about are some of the key instances in this book that I feel bear a lot of talking about. Now, one of the main things, let's go ahead and get this out of the way, is the aftermath of what happened in the previous issue is regarding the whole fight with Adro and Dr. Sylvester turning sides and things of that nature. What we do learn, Dr. Sylvester did not win in the way that we thought he did. You see, Adro was not with him when he went through that portal. Even though he drug him through, it didn't work. He wound up being trapped over there, but more importantly, what kind of happened is that because of the way time in Barzak works, not that much time had passed from when Cullen had left his father Charlie behind and rushed off through the portal when it reopened, leaving Charlie from more or less to die. Well, just so happens Dr. Sylvester was the one who found him. He showed up almost right as Cullen left. It's a weird thing about how the passage of time works there. Well, somewhere in there, we don't really get to see a lot of what has gone on between Dr. Sylvester and Charlie, but what we do know is that somewhere down the road, Dr. Sylvester was very likely instrumental in helping Charlie get back on his feet, both figuratively and literally, and maybe even was the one who outfitted him with some of the new legs that we saw him with when he came back through the portal at the end of Bitter Root number 10. So we have hard confirmation. That was Charlie Sangrier, who we saw in the mask and everything, coming to help save the day at the end of Bitter Root number 10, and we get to see him even kind of interacting back with his family, but apparently him being away for as long as he has, it's changed him in ways that would make him unrecognizable to Enoch Sangrier. But at the same time, Charlie has seen things in Barzak that have made him feel completely different about the way that the Sangriers do things, that there's certain ways that they're trying to go about tackling the Jinoo that just aren't going to work because Charlie has watched them fail. He even says it himself when Enoch tries to claim that Charlie doesn't actually know how to understand or speak to the creatures that he's speaking to, these creatures from Barzak, but what he tells them is that Enoch needs to learn how to actually listen to other people, because right now Charlie has just witnessed the different families sitting right there arguing once again over how to stop something and arguing over whether or not one side is right or if the other side is right. And Charlie, I think, is probably on the same page as characters like Blink, who once again we get to see in this story, who is still kind of angry over things and proceedings that have happened, but we do see that her and her mother are able to kind of reconcile a little bit, despite the fact that they're having this crisis of faith. And I kind of feel like Charlie Sangrier and Blink have become closer in terms of ideology. Blink and Charlie Sangrier are probably going to be on the same page going forward in the story arc, whereas other characters like Ford Sangrier, you can see that he's starting to soften some as Cullen is becoming more of a hard ass, whereas Berg is just doing what Berg does. Now, getting more into that, we know that the Jinoo basically ran roughshod over Harlem, and the Sangriers couldn't get rid of all of them, even working together, even all of the other families, not even all of them together could bring down all the Jinoo. All they could do was hope to contain it with root work, and ultimately what winds up happening, we learn, is that the Jinoo and the humans in Harlem have kind of been been, in a weird way, living together, integrating with one another, because the ones that they can't fully cure, they've just been kind of helping keep them from fully turning. And we even see a shot in one of the nightclubs where we see waitresses walking around serving drinks with devil tails and horns, and we see Jinoo dancing among other humans and humans singing to the Jinoo and the Jinoo hanging out. Like, this is this crazy mishmash of things that are happening right now. And at the center of it all is Blerd. Blerd is somehow involved in this, and he has somehow found a way to maintain order in Harlem and keep things from getting even more out of hand than what they already were. And of course, Blerd, having not necessarily become a Jinoo, he became an Inzondo when he was infected. Come to find out, yeah, he is using his intelligence to try and help keep everything under control. And it's not what I was expecting. This is like something you would see, like, honestly, this is one of those situations I would almost expect to see out of maybe like a Supernatural TV show, or like a Constantine TV show, or a comic or something of that nature. This is like one of those clubs you would see in something like that. It's very interesting. I was not expecting them to go in this direction, and I'm here for it. But that is neither here nor there. Of course, we do get some more interesting moments where we can learn a teensy-weensy bit more about Maeda, who is the matriarch of the Sangrees, as she's kind of I guess tutoring the former, I guess now former police officer Elijah, who we met in the previous issues, who apparently has some kind of a talent for root work, and makes for some interesting stuff. However, there's some things that are going on here that are kind of being teased here that I don't think people are going to probably catch up with. But as he's reading the book about these roots and how to manipulate them into making the serums that the Sangrees use, we start noticing that actual roots start growing out of the book. And Maeda seems less surprised by it than anybody else. But once again, Maeda is one of those people. She's been around long enough. She's probably seen a little bit of everything. And she's also kind of been one of the people who is usually the more stoic of all the characters, and that's actually a pretty strong statement considering the fact that Ford Sangrier is still around. Now, this may or may not be teasing something, because there's something that's going to happen towards the end of this book that we're going to get into, and that is a simple fact of the matter that while Ford Sangrier, speaking of the character, he's speaking with Johnny Ray's family and basically telling his family that Johnny Ray died a hero, that he walked away from the path that he was going down when Ford first met him, when he was hanging out with the Ku Klux Klan. He's telling them that he's not that person, he didn't die that person, that he died a hero. And while all this is going on, of course, now Cullen Sangrier has become this very sullen and just very angry person, but we're learning more about his character as well while all this is going on, because we're learning that, yeah, he is angry and bitter, not because he hates Jinoo, but because the Jinoo basically robbed him of a life that he wanted that he'll never get to have, basically living a normal life. He doesn't want to fight Jinoo. He's basically killing Jinoo and being very angry about it. The reason why he was so pissy about it all the time is because he wants to end it all so that he could be a normal person, but that's likely never going to happen. But the reason why I bring all this up is because while these moments are going on, this all ties back to what was going on with Maeda and Elijah, because he is attacked. Cullen Sangrier is attacked by something, and it's a monstrous group of creatures, only these creatures aren't Jinoo, and they're not Inzondo because they're not human. We've seen strange creatures come from Barzak, the strange little rabbit-like creatures that we've seen hanging around the Sangriers, as far back as the first story arc. Those aren't the only weird things that come out of Barzak, but also we've learned that everything that comes from Barzak is amplified, emotions and everything. We learned this with Dr. Sylvester. Basically, Barzak is just a big mirror for everything that comes through and backward between Earth and that purgatory realm. And what comes out of this is the fact that it's not just humans. Even nature can be affected by hatred. I know it sounds crazy, and I know some people are gonna go, the fuck? But it makes sense. You think about it. Humanity has basically destroyed and pillaged and plundered and polluted and desecrated land as far and wide as one could possibly imagine, committing racist acts against other people using the land to do so. But the land itself has been harmed directly by humans, regardless of color or creed. Because think about it, if the normal rules that apply to how hatred and bigotry work in the Bitterroot universe, think about it. Originally, it was supposed to be that only white people became Jinoo. Because of racism, people of color did not become Jinoo. Only we learned in the second story arc that actually is not true. Black people and people of color in general, they can become monstrous creatures, only they don't become Jinoo because of hatred. They become Inzondo because of grief and pain and suffering. Imagine what happens to nature when hatred has become so roughshod, it has run roughshod throughout the earth that it starts to infect it and turn it into a weapon. And when you think about it, the very trees and roots of the earth begin coming to life and begin attacking Cullen. We see trees literally attacking with people still swinging from them. Literal people who have been hanged are swinging from these trees. So honestly, it kind of begs the question that, yeah, the hatred literally has grown so deep in this realm that it's even dug into the earth itself. Not only that, Cullen, I feel like, is getting a lesson in the fact that his own personal selfishness is a sickness in and of itself. We've been learning this. This has been a huge theme with Bitterroot, that emotions, strong emotions, especially strong negative emotions, can turn people into things that they don't even recognize. And this is more of it here. But anyway, those are some of the main talking points I really wanted to get into in regards to the recent issue of Bitterroot. Man, I was really pleased with this issue. They did a really good job of following up that story because I honestly really didn't know where it was going to go. And I always feel that way with Bitterroot when it ends. I'm always like, oh my God, how are you going to wrap this up? And then it's like, oh wait, they're going to do it like this. And it's like, okay, well, how are you going to follow that up? And then they follow it up. And it's just fantastic. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button. Make sure to share this video all over the internet with all your friends so you can let them know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to Bitterroot. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Bitterroot number 11. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.